all at home and we're all having more time to sort of face things and face ourselves. Um, and we have more time to sort of maybe see the more not so pleasant side of things as well. Um, and I know last week we were talking about the power of words and the power of using positive words and how much change our brains can go through when we keep using positive words. We kind of talked about the pathway where you use a positive term for yourself. You describe yourself in a good light, you have a positive start to the day, and you keep continually doing that. The prefrontal cortex, the temporal cortex, parietal cortex, all of those areas are linking up together, which ultimately results in changes in our own self-perception, which is what is so key, how we view ourselves. If we're viewing ourselves in a positive light, obviously that changes the energy that's around us and that spreads to everybody else. And so I don't know if you guys recall Lee Ferchaw during our GHRSO kind of meeting with Salma. Her quote was, "Be the change you would like to see," something along those lines. And this is a kind of a great example of you being the change yourself. You are the agent of change through positive words, and it's such a simple thing. Not easy to implement, but you guys all have the gumption to do it. And so, I think kind of putting that effort in and putting that change in and appreciating yourselves, as I said, we are our own superheroes, is such an important thing, especially now that we're at home and not seeing our coworkers and friends. But I do hope that you guys are continuing to do that and remembering that you guys are each so special in your individual ways. And there's so much to celebrate about ourselves. And so it's so key to not forget that, even though we're alone sometimes and may forget. Have a little note on the side of your computer reminding yourself that you are great and you have so much to offer. And there's so many reasons to be positive about ourselves and our families and friends, colleagues, and that positivity will spread for sure. But yeah, that was last week. And this week, I thought it would be nice to kind of go back to our roots and kind of refresh ourselves about mindfulness all over again and being stress-free and just kind of going back to basics. And I have a bit of a story to share with you guys. So, when we talk about mindfulness, there's so many different ways to talk about it. There's so many different presentations of it. But I always find that a story is, it's a nice way to remember things, and it helps. It really plays to how our brains work too, where you're linking ideas together to formulate a big picture in the form of an interesting story. And so this story is attributed to the First Nations culture, where there's an elder and a small child, and they're traveling together. And the elder is telling the child that she has two wolves battling in her heart. The first wolf is the wolf of anger and deceit and frustration. And the second wolf is one of compassion, love, and patience. And so the child would look to the elder and say, well, if they're battling, so which wolf wins? And the elder replies, the one that I feed. And if you think about it, it's true. You have feelings of frustration and maybe you're angry, maybe you're not happy with the situation. But then on the other side, you have the more forgiving, patient thought process. Which one kind of comes out at the end is the one that we give precedence to, or the one that we give focus to. And we sometimes forget that is very, very powerful. It's not anyone else making that decision but yourself. And so when the elder says, the one I feed, usually it would be a visualization of her placing a food bowl in front of the compassionate wolf. And that is quite significant because it doesn't mean that the angry wolf, or the one that has frustration and deceit, is being pushed down. Normally we would think, oh, if I'm going to be compassionate, I need to push down all those other feelings. That's not the case. You don't want to push anything down. You're just letting them be. You're not feeding it. You're letting them sit on the side, like you're letting the wolf sit on the side. You might fuss a little bit, but when you ignore a fussy dog or a fussy child, eventually they learn that fussing is not going to get them anything, so they calm down. Same with our thoughts, exactly the same thing. You have these things bubbling up, bubbling up, bubbling up, but the less attention you give it, the calmer it becomes. Challenging, granted, I completely agree. It's not easy, but it works. Over time, with practice and with strength of and that gumption and positivity, it'll happen for sure. And I love that you guys are agreeing, because you're seeing that. Absolutely, that's amazing. So yeah, feed that compassionate wolf, but let the other wolf, who's a little bit upset and a little bit antsy, just sit. And that wolf will come and sit down by your feet and just be. And then the wolf that's compassionate and loving will be the one that leads you through life. And that wolf is representative of mindfulness. Your mindfulness is what will take you through life and give you the choice to select how you react in life, how you're going to be in that situation. So if you're in an argument or in a situation that challenges you, you're making that decision to fight back or to say nothing. It's like, is it worth it? What is the intention behind me arguing versus I'm just not going to say anything right now and we're just going to let things be. And same for self-talk too. Sometimes we get caught up in all the negative things about ourselves. Oh, I'm so stressed, or oh, I don't like the way I look, or whatever it is. You can always flip that on its side and say, no, I'm not stressed. You change the wording, like I get to go to work versus I have to go to work. Those little changes. It's you who's making those changes. It's you who's the superpower. It's a superpower. And you are a superhero because you're making that choice. And I thought that this story really, really highlighted the power that we have within ourselves to make that choice. And to know, and this part is the key part, that each moment gives us the opportunity for a new outlook and a new perspective. So you're angry now, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be angry in the next moment. And that's a split-second decision, but it's all on you. It doesn't have to be that way. You can make that choice. And so like with everything, whether it's happiness, sadness, anger, frustration, compassion, all the emotions, you have the power to make that next moment, that next outlook positive. So power to you guys, the superheroes, to take it and run with it. So you have that within yourself. And I know you know that, but I really wanted to share this story with you guys to emphasize that point, that it is there. And, when you practice and we get back into the office, whenever that happens, or we're in any sort of interaction, that choice will be so at the forefront of your mind that you won't even have to force it. It'll just become habitual, which is what you really, really want. And the whole point of mindfulness practice is to make these choices habit so that you don't need to even second guess yourself. And that saves so much energy and time. Obviously, it's a journey, but you guys are already on it because you're coming to these sessions and you're trying. So, you guys have done 90% of the work. It's just that little 10% that's left to try out. So you're on the path. Kudos to you guys.